Abandoned man-made structures are the most beautiful of all the unmeant monuments to human progress. From mysterious military islands to Steve Jobs' lost mansion, these are 10 abandoned places you need to know of. Fort Alexander is a naval fortress built on a man-made island just off the coast of Russia. With over 100 gun ports, this menacing fortress stood as a warning to foreign invaders. The really creepy thing is that until 1917, the island was used as a plague research center. And although it was mostly just animals that were experimented on, scientists would often accidentally catch the plague. When someone would catch the plague, they would never be allowed to leave the island. They would simply be condemned to walk the corridors endlessly, or stare out at the Russian mainland for the rest of their life, before being cremated in the cellars. The island was finally abandoned in 1983. Deep within the forests of Virginia, the National Park Seminary is a long-abandoned private school for girls. You'll see from this photograph that even before being deserted, the place was creepy as hell. Originally being called Ye Forest Inn and built in the 1890s, it looks like something straight out of a horror movie, apart from the traditional Japanese house. But on the premises is also a Greek temple, a Dutch windmill, and an English castle with a drawbridge. I haven't been able to work out the reason behind these buildings, but I strongly suspect it to be hard drugs. In the Sea of Japan is an abandoned Russian military island called Askold. Covered in old tanks, guns and fortifications, the island stands as a chilling monument to Russia's historical military expansion. It was constructed in the late 19th century as a warning to the Japanese military. As part of a complex network of fortress built along Russia's coast, heavy weaponry was installed here. But by now the weaponry has rusted into antiquity. It is believed that 40 tons of gold remain hidden on the island, which might just be a local legend. But what if it isn't? Canfranc International Railway Station was once the largest and most majestic railway station on Earth. Its underground tunnels crossed the border of France and Spain, which were used during the war by thousands of Jewish refugees escaping the Nazis. But after France fell to the Nazis, they took control of the station. Ever since then, it has been known as the Nazi Station. And with a reputation like that, it was only a matter of time until it became one of Europe's forgotten abandoned places. The station is currently fenced off, but some managed to break in and catch a glimpse of the crumbling architecture. The Marland Sun Temple is an abandoned Hindu temple in northern India. At one time it was arguably the most impressive sun god temple in the world. Having said that, the temple still has a huge courtyard and 85 shrines. The structure is extremely complex. Several new areas have recently been discovered, and many believe there to be more secret passages left undiscovered, so who knows what kind of treasure lies beneath its ancient foundations. Bannerman's Castle is an abandoned castle located on an island in the middle of New York's Hudson River. It was built in the early 20th century, but today it's a corroding shell of what a castle should be. There's something beautiful about a castle slowly falling apart, which is partly why it has been featured in dozens of horror novels and fictional murder mysteries. The place has long been associated with mysteries. According to local legend, the island is haunted by the ghost of Polly Pell, a young girl who became stranded on the island in the 18th century. In April of this year, a woman took her fiancé on a kayaking trip to the island. Some say she murdered him, but some say he simply fell victim to the haunted island. The Catacombs of Paris. No abandoned places list would be creepy enough without this. 60 feet below the streets of Paris lies a huge network of tunnels and chambers containing the remains of 6 million dead people. The site has been inspiration for many folk legends. Most describe people finding themselves lost in the tunnels. In 1793, a man went missing in the catacombs. 11 years passed before his body was found. But people still often go missing in the tunnels. The Saffron unique skyscraper is known as Bangkok's Ghost Tower. The 49-story high building was completely abandoned in the late 90s and has been left empty ever since. Once seen as one of the greatest achievements in modern architecture, the structure was swiftly ravaged by nature. It was built to represent the prosperity and fighting spirit of Bangkok, and judging by its current appearance, they either failed or Bangkok is the worst place in the world. Jackling House is an abandoned and partially destroyed mansion in California. It was built in 1925, and the current legal status of the property is unknown, but its last owner was the co-founder of Apple, Steve Jobs. The 17,000 square foot property is creepy as hell. It is even rumored to be haunted by the ghost of Steve Jobs himself. But the creepiest thing is the huge pipe organ in the middle of the building. It's understandable why so many people want to destroy the property. For number 1, we have an abandoned Spanish doll factory. There isn't much to say about it really, just look at it. Creepy, creepy, creepy. I think we can all guess why this place was abandoned. And so that brings us to the end of the list on 10 abandoned places. These videos take a long time to produce, so I really appreciate every like, comment, share and new subscriber, as it really helps them reach more people.